For as long as humans have remembered history, they have dreamed of peace. Every civilization, every empire, every generation has believed that this time war would finally end. Kings shook hands, leaders signed treaties, crowds celebrated, bells rang, and for a brief moment the world believed violence was over. Yet again and again, peace collapsed. Not after centuries, not even after decades. Sometimes it didn't survive a single generation. This is not coincidence. This is a pattern, one that has repeated itself for over 4,000 years. The first known peace treaties were carved into stone, not written on paper. Ancient Mesopotamian kings promised eternal peace, swearing by their gods that bloodshed would end. Those stones still exist today. What doesn't exist is the peace they promised. Within years, borders shifted, armies marched, and cities burned. History didn't forget these failures. We just chose to ignore the lesson. Peace talks always begin with hope, but they are born from fear. No leader seeks peace when they are winning. Peace is negotiated when power is uncertain, resources are drained, and collapse feels close. That fear never disappears after the treaty is signed. It only hides beneath polite smiles and ceremonial handshakes. Every side leaves the table calculating who gained more, who lost more, and how long before the balance tips again. In ancient Egypt, peace treaties were sealed by marriage, gods, and gold. Pharaohs believed divine authority could freeze history itself. Yet the same dynasties that preached harmony prepared armies in secret. Temples were built for peace, while weapons were forged behind their walls. The contradiction was never accidental. Peace was not an end, it was a pause. Human psychology plays a darker role than we like to admit. Peace demands trust, but evolution rewards suspicion. For most of human survival, trusting the wrong group meant extinction. That instinct never left us. Even today, nations sign treaties while assuming betrayal is inevitable. Peace talks don't remove fear, they institutionalize it. Every empire that collapsed believed it was different. Rome thought its laws would outlast violence. China believed dynastic order would stabilize humanity forever. European powers believed diplomacy and borders would civilize war out of existence. Each was proven wrong. The pattern didn't break, it adapted. Modern peace talks look cleaner, smarter, more sophisticated. Cameras flash, flags stand side by side. Words like historic and permanent are repeated endlessly. Yet behind closed doors, intelligence agencies remain active, militaries remain funded, and contingency plans remain ready. Peace is declared publicly while war is prepared privately. The truth is uncomfortable. Peace threatens power. War justifies control, surveillance, authority, and sacrifice. Peace exposes inequality, corruption, and fear. When enemies disappear, leaders must answer to their own people. For many systems, war is not failure, it is functionality. Religion, ideology, and nationalism often pretend to be the cause of conflict, but they are masks. Beneath them lies the same ancient engine: competition for security, status, and survival. Peace treaties do not shut that engine down, they slow it, briefly. History shows us something chilling. The longer a peace lasts, the more dangerous it becomes. Generations born without war grow confident. Confidence becomes arrogance. Arrogance becomes risk, and risk invites catastrophe. The very success of peace plants the seeds of its destruction. Even when peace is genuine, it demands sacrifices humans resist. It requires forgiveness without revenge, memory without hatred, justice without domination. These are not natural instincts, they are learned behaviors, constantly under pressure from fear and ego. For 4,000 years, humans have tried to solve war with agreements while ignoring the deeper problem, ourselves. Peace talks fail not because words are weak, but because human nature is unchanged. Technology evolves, weapons modernize, empires rise and fall, but the psychology behind conflict remains hauntingly familiar. This doesn't mean peace is impossible. It means peace is fragile, artificial, and expensive. It must be defended not by armies, but by restraint, something history shows we struggle to maintain. Every peace treaty tells the same story in different languages, never again, and history replies the same way every time. Again. And yet, despite everything history has shown us, humans never stop believing the next peace will be different. This belief itself is part of the pattern. Every generation looks back at past failures and convinces itself those people were foolish, primitive, less educated, less moral. We assume modern minds are immune to ancient mistakes. That assumption has never survived reality. When peace talks begin, the language is always emotional. Leaders speak of children, futures, prosperity, humanity. These words are not lies, they are hopes. But hope alone has never restrained power. Behind every emotional speech sits a strategic calculation, territory, influence, leverage, survival. Peace becomes a transaction, not a transformation. One of the most dangerous myths in human history is the idea of final peace, the belief that one agreement, one conference, one document can permanently end conflict. History shows the opposite. The moment peace is framed as permanent, vigilance dies, and when vigilance dies, imbalance grows. Ancient societies understood this better than we like to admit. Many of them never believed peace could last. They treated it as a season, like winter or summer, a temporary state before the inevitable return of struggle. What changed was not the pattern, it was our denial of it. As societies grew more complex, so did the justifications for war. Conflict was no longer about survival alone. It became about identity, pride, revenge, honor, ideology. Peace talks tried to address borders and ceasefires, but they rarely addressed humiliation, and humiliation is one of the strongest fuels for future violence. Every failed peace carries unresolved wounds, a defeated side that feels cheated, a victorious side that feels entitled. These emotions do not disappear when ink dries, they ferment. They are passed down through stories, education, propaganda, and memory. Peace treaties end battles, they do not end narratives. Modern technology has not weakened this cycle, it has accelerated it. Information spreads faster than understanding, fear spreads faster than facts. One incident, one rumor, one manipulated image can shatter years of negotiation. Peace today exists under constant psychological pressure, attacked not just by armies, but by perception. There is another truth history reveals. Peace often collapses not because enemies attack, but because allies fracture. Internal division, mistrust, and power struggles corrode agreements from within. When unity fails, external conflict follows naturally. Economic interests also play a role rarely spoken aloud. War restructures economies. Industries grow around conflict. Jobs, influence, and political capital are tied to instability. Peace threatens these structures. When peace becomes bad for business, resistance emerges quietly, strategically, and persistently. Even international institutions created to preserve peace face this contradiction. They rely on power structures to enforce order, yet power itself is the source of imbalance. Enforcement without equality breeds resentment. Equality without enforcement breeds chaos. Peace sits uncomfortably between both. Human memory is selective. We remember victories more vividly than compromises, heroes more than negotiators, glory more than restraint. Cultures celebrate warriors and mourn diplomats only when they fail. This cultural bias quietly undermines peace before it even begins. Children grow up learning the stories of past conflicts framed as necessary, justified, heroic. Rarely are they taught the cost of pride, the price of escalation, or the value of restraint. By the time they inherit the world, the emotional groundwork for future conflict is already laid. Peace also demands patience, something modern societies struggle to sustain. It requires slow rebuilding, long trust, and delayed rewards. War offers immediate clarity: enemy, mission, victory. Peace offers ambiguity. Humans instinctively prefer certainty, even when it is destructive. History shows that peace lasts longest, not when trust is highest, but when power is balanced. The moment balance shifts, peace becomes unstable, and balance is never static. Technology, population, resources, and alliances constantly change. Peace agreements freeze moments in time that reality refuses to respect. This is why peace talks so often feel like history trying to pause itself and failing. The pattern continues not because humans are evil, but because humans are consistent. We fear loss more than we value stability. We react faster than we reflect. We protect identity before we protect life. These instincts once helped us survive. Now they threaten our future. Every collapse of peace feels shocking to those living through it, but to history it looks familiar. The same steps, the same warnings ignored, the same confidence before the fall. Perhaps the most unsettling realization is this: peace does not fail suddenly. It erodes quietly, through small violations, tolerated injustices, ignored warnings, rationalized aggression. By the time war returns, peace was already gone. Everyone just pretended otherwise. And still, humanity returns to the table, again and again and again, because despite everything, we cannot stop hoping that this time we might finally outgrow ourselves. That hope is not foolish, it is human. But history asks a brutal question, one we have avoided for 4,000 years. Are we trying to end war, or are we just trying to delay it?